Hello guys, very good evening. Today we will learn about the stance when we are doing any particular exercise. So different exercises require different stances. Okay, so how to choose stance for a particular exercise, we have to understand this concept. Okay, so there are normal stances, shoulder width stance and slightly wider than shoulder stance. Okay, and this hip width stance. So mainly there are three stances. Okay, hip width, shoulder width and wider than shoulder. Okay, so which exercise requires which stance, that is the main topic to understand for today. Okay, so we choose stance for stabilization. If I am standing here, so now according to my height, this is the proper stance to balance. Okay, so if I am doing any particular exercise where I do not have to lift my hands or do not have to bend my torso down, then this shoulder width stance would be appropriate. Okay, in any exercise you doing. Okay, so this is the center point, center of gravity, and this box is the base of support. Okay, so when we are doing any exercise where I have to lift my hands upward, for example shoulder overhead press or military press, so in this situation my hands are up, so now my height become more higher, right? Okay, so to balance for this particular height, now I have to increase the stance for better stabilization. My body will become more stable if I increase stance slightly wider than shoulder for this particular exercise. Okay, so this is our midline for the body. Okay, so our limbs, upper limbs and lower limbs, if we keep our limbs close to the midline, it will work as a unit. Our body will work as a unit and it will be able to generate maximum force. But because of this stance, we have to choose. If I don't require wider stance, then I have to keep my body shrinked. Okay, for example, if I am doing bent over row, in bent over row, when my body goes down, now my height becomes shorter. Okay, so to balance this particular height, I have to keep my stance narrow, like hip width stance. So when we doing bent over row or any exercise in this position, okay, then I have to shrink my stance a little bit inside. Okay, like hip width stance. So now in this height I do not have to keep stance wider, but if I keep like this, then I will be able to shrink my body more closer to my midline, so I will be able to perform more force. If I keep my stance hip width, then I will be able to generate more force because my limbs are close to my midline, right? So that is the difference. And for example, if a tree is higher, then the roots will be wider, and if the tree is shorter, then root will be less wider. So roots become wider just to stabilize according to the height of the tree. So same thing applies here for the gravity. If I am doing any exercise where I have to lift my hands like this, my center of gravity goes up, right? And then I have to increase stance between the legs for better stabilization. Okay, and if I am doing any exercise where I do not have to lift my hands up, then this shoulder width stance will be enough. Okay, and for any exercise where I have to bend my torso, for this hip width stance is better. If I keep my stance like this, then I will not be able to stabilize myself, but if I keep this way, now this is more stable. Okay, so always choose stance according to the requirement of this particular exercise. So how to choose stance, now you understand the concept. You have to check what is the moment of this particular exercise. If this particular moment is increasing your height, then you have to keep a little wider stance, and if it is normal size, like according to your height, then you do not have to change stance. It will be normal shoulder width stance, and if you are bending your body, then you have to narrower stance. Okay, so that is the difference. So now you can choose the stance according to your exercise movement. Okay, it is very simple, very easy. Okay guys, so if you have any confusion in this concept, please write me on the comment box and we will talk about it later in upcoming videos. Thank you so much.